equals blown.
Really? Oh, good.
Yes. I have to say, I was so impressed by you from the jump.
Really?
I was like, my girl, coming out with the vagina pillow.
Oh my God. I meant to bring it up here. I forgot her. She's downstairs somewhere.
Oh, she must be lonely.
I know. She often is. I haven't, you know what? I was thinking about like she really hasn't been in the sun on my socials yet. So like that's coming. I need to like, she needs to have a
Maybe
moment.
we can pause for you to go get her. I can wait a minute if you want.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna go get her. I'll be right back.
We'll take some questions in the meantime. We'll wait. We got Alyssa on here, guys. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be great. We got champagne bubbly, the official Wingman Live beverage. I have to tell you, my first sip tonight, I was mind blown. I've never tasted a champagne so good in my life. What's up with my camera? Mine shouldn't be. Is that better? Why am I pixel queen? I don't want to be this.
Okay. I got her.
I should not be getting throttled this time. Am I the pixel queen?
You are the pixel queen right now.
Why?
Oh no.
Why is this happening?
Do you want to leave and come back?
Yeah, let me do that again.
Okay.
Hang on. You didn't think a woman ran this account? No, I don't run this account, actually. I am a member of this account. Alyssa is back with us, The Circle Season 4. Yay. She has joined us on Wingman Live, and she has brought my favorite part of the season.
Oh, I have her.
She's here, guys. She's deserving her moment on social media, the vagina pillow.
Yes. I have not posted her enough, and I really take ownership for that. She should be included in the journey more.
Oh my gosh. And here I'm so excited that she's here on our journey tonight.
Yes. And you know what? I feel like people didn't really get to appreciate how anatomically correct it is. Like,
I actually fully appreciated that when I saw you put it on the bed. I was like, okay. I was like, this vulva has got it going on.
She has a clit and everything.
She does. Like, she's
everything. She has everything. She has all.
She has all of the right parts. So
yeah.
Do you teach men how to use those parts?
Sometimes men, sometimes women, because women also don't know their own anatomy, and there's stuff on the inside too. So like your clitoris is not just this like what you see. It actually goes all the way up here, and then there's a clitoral stem on the sides, and you can like feel it in the sides of the pillow. And it's cool for the guys to know, but it's also cool for the women to know too. Because I didn't learn that. When would we ever learn that, you know?
I just learned that just now, to be honest with you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I got to,
yeah. It's cool.
It's stuff to discover now.
Oh yes. Like even so like in the sides here, there are these like big like tube type of things, and they fill with blood the same way that like the penis fills with blood, and that's how like arousal is happening. Same thing happens with a vulva. So like the sides, there are bulbs in the sides that fill with blood and get puffy, and it's actually like it's part of the arousal process, but it also is supposed to protect. Hello, my dog is just like digging. It protects your pelvic bones from the impact when you actually are having sex.
That's amazing. See, the vagina can take a lot of stuff. I don't know why people use the P word and call everybody pussies, because vaginas can take a pounding.
Hell yes, they can.
They can do a lot of special things.
Yes, they can. One of my favorite books, like related to female sexuality, is called Pussy, and it's like about reclaiming the word, because like really like it should be used. It's so funny that someone says like, oh, you have balls, where it's like if you even like at someone's balls in the wrong direction, they're like keeled over. But yeah, exactly. And and our vaginas can handle so much more than that.
They really can. I honestly, truly feel like that one of the best things you said, and I think you, oh my, I think it was actually during the time that you got to meet the Spice Girls, which was like, did you die?
I like blacked out. I don't remember much of like that actual interaction. So I'm glad that it's on. Like, I'm glad it was recorded because I don't remember what happened. So I'm so glad someone recorded this because I can actually see the conversation that we had, because I just remember being like, I couldn't believe that that was happening. I couldn't believe they were coming to my room. Like, I thought for sure they were going to go see Rachel. Like, I just did not see that coming at all, but it was amazing. I mean,
That was so amazing. I was actually more excited that they came to see you because I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is unbelievable right now. Like, this is crazy. Like, I was like, I don't think they're going to go see, I was like, they probably won't go see Carol. They probably won't go see, you know, I was like, I feel like they're going to be strategic about who they go see. And especially because of your bio. Mm-hmm. I think that was what did it, because they were like, oh my God, we want to, you know, make it seem like she's the Spice Girl because spicy and small.
I couldn't believe that. That was such a coincidence. Like, I wrote my bio like weeks before we even went on the show. Like, I had written it sort of like almost like manifesting that I was going to make it on. And so I've had that bio for weeks, and like, I couldn't believe that of all the people, of all of the guests for them to have this season, it would happen to be the Spice Girls. Like, and I said small and spicy. So wild.
That is crazy. I wonder if you actually gave them the idea.
I'm sure that I didn't, because they didn't see it until I built the profile. So they didn't know either. So I wonder, like, as producers are watching this whole thing happen, I wonder if they were like, does she know? And I didn't. I had no idea.
They're like, did somebody tip her off?
You know what? I wish that was the case. Actually, no, I don't, because the surprise of it all was like, I mean, irreplaceable. I still can't believe any of that happened. Like, I was such a Spice Girls fan when I was a kid too. Like, I remember they had these
first concert.
What happened?
My first concert. Were you saying you love the lollipops?
Yes. Do you remember those?
Limited 2.
Where they were, yes, that's where they were. Oh my God, I forgot that they were at Limited 2. Where they were like half chocolate and half vanilla, and then the labels had all of the Spice Girls on it, and it was so cool.
And there was a sticker.
Yes, it had a little sticker. Ugh.
I actually, this is gonna sound so crazy. I have it somewhere in one of these boxes. I actually just moved to New York, so I live in Albany. Wow. Yeah, I just moved to Albany, so I have like all of my stuff in boxes, and I actually have remember those, I think they were like Chupa Chups lollipops back in the day. They'd have like like the strawberries and cream, and like Emma always had one. Oh my God, it made my whole life. I got one at Limited 2, and I just kept it over the years, and I just used it as like a change jar.
Yeah. Oh,
but it still has like Baby Spice on the outside because she was always my favorite, and I'm like, they haven't changed since I was 12.
No, they're the best. Like, the nicest people. They like look the same. Like,
yeah.
I thought they would. And like, when they left my room smelled like warm spices and like patchouli. Like, they just smelled amazing. Like, oh, they were just like everything you want them to be and more. They were great.
Like, did that really just happen in my life? Like, thank God they recorded that, because I would probably have had the same reaction.
Don't recall any of it.
One of the things you said to them, though, was so freaking amazing. You were talking to them about what you would do with the money. And you were saying, you know, women deal with enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is Wingman of the Year, but I will say, Wingman of the Year, they have been so supportive of me as a woman. I'm one of the first women to join Wingman of the Year. They're amazing here.
That's so
what is one of the things that you think women deal with the most?
Well, women, when our pain tolerance is kind of taken for granted. So we have a higher pain tolerance in general, but we also are not taken seriously. Particularly women of color are not taken seriously when they go to doctors and complain about pain. And that's really disappointing. I mean, just in general, specifically Black women, when they're going through any sort of like medical process, are not treated the same. But I mean, that's something that many women experience, where we're sort of expected to deal with it. I think about it all the time, that like women have periods every single month, and we still have to pay for all of our like feminine products out of pocket, and they're heavily taxed on top of that too. Like, it just doesn't really make any sense, and I really think it would be that way should it be the other way around. And I think about like the role of mothers in a household too, and I can't believe how much women are just expected to do. I think about my mom all the time. Like, there are like, you know, we all work whatever, our 9 to 5, and obviously it's longer than 9 to 5, but we all work every day, but only a mom is expected to come home and have dinner done and the house clean and the kids are taken care of. And so much so to the extent that a lot of the times, obviously not for everyone, and there are exceptions to the rule, and I think the dynamic is changing a bit now, but so often if you were to leave the partner out of the situation, they wouldn't even know what to do. Like, they wouldn't know maybe like all of the childcare things that a mom would, and that's their kid too. So the expectations for women are just drastically higher, and then we aren't really taken care of at the end of the day. Like, we aren't treated like people who are equal, never mind also people with full-time jobs. Like, the single parent household is not really and so we all are working really hard and still having to maintain what is another full-time job, which is taking care of a household or a family a lot of the time. So there's a lot that women deal with on that front. And like, that's not even getting into like any sort of sexual violence or violence in general that women are just disproportionately exposed to, and aren't taken care of for that either. We aren't given like education and tools to really even to be able to communicate those things. Like, we are as children taught like our private parts, like that's what we're calling our vulva and our vagina. Like, that's not what they're called. They're body parts. Like, your elbow is a body part.
You're absolutely right.
You know,
I'm still listening to you. I apologize. I'm the pixel queen. I need to move into the dining room.
Okay.
Because, good Lord, this thing is just not working out for me in here. I must be too far away from the router. So, therefore, I'm going to move.
Yes.
But you're absolutely right. I think women of color are treated disproportionately when it comes to medical health issues. There's definitely a big discrepancy there. And there's actually a new Netflix, or actually, no, it's on Hulu. There's a Hulu special coming out that is going to be amazing, that's bringing a lot of attention to women of color who, unfortunately, have to be in this position. And there's a lot of men in this position who their wives are going through hell just trying to get their medical issues addressed, and they can't get these issues addressed. And then they wind up dying because no one's taking their pain seriously.
Right. And it's so just and so and when I had that conversation with the Spice Girls, it was like, you know, I came into doing that whole show and it was a fun experience, but I was in a like part of my life where I was transitioning my career and really trying to like embrace what is my passion, which is learning and teaching everything that has to do with sex ed. Oh my God, we can see your beautiful face now. Yay!
Yes, finally! Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
But yeah, so
it's crazy.
Yeah, so
Let me just turn this light on. I'm still listening to you, darling. Keep going.
No worries. But yeah, so I went into it with wanting it to be a fun experience, knowing that I was in this sort of like cross section of my life, but also like I don't take the platform that I knew I was going to gain that lightly. Like, it was so important to me to make the most out of that and like not have it be an opportunity to like sell shampoo I don't use, or, you know, push products that are like bullshit, or like, you know, I really try and make every effort I can to like make responsible choices and all of that, and using my platform to lift up other creators who are also talking about like, you know, similar things is really important too. Like, I'm a white woman, so there's things that like I could I could talk about, but I'm not going to be an expert in because it's not my experience. And so it's important for me to also lift up other people who are actually experiencing things and can relate to other people. Like there have been really great sex educators that are part of like my little network, that are part of all different types of communities. And like even down to, there's someone who is a kink expert. And
Really?
yes, like she literally is a kink expert. And I'm not a kink expert. I can give you the basics of like how to maybe like initiate that type of a relationship, but I'm by no means an expert. And it's so cool that I have her to refer to when people ask me questions about that, because I would so much rather share the space. Like I would so much rather give somebody who's an expert the opportunity to actually help people too. So it's just been cool. Like I'm so like honored to have the platform and have people here, and you know, started with my little Spice Girls combo.
Honestly, I feel like it all began there, and I also feel like but that's where it all kind of felt like it started to fall apart a little bit too, because I felt like people started to lose trust in you after that, and I was like, that's very strange.
Yeah, you know, it's a weird show because you think you know what's going on because you're having all these conversations with people, but there's an entire show of, you know, 8 or 9 other people who are having completely different conversations, like, you know, whether it's with the producers that we have in the room or with other people in the show. And so I said to Yuling in the finale, like I was pissed at first. Excuse me, I was pissed off at her at first, but ultimately, like we kind of forget that at the end of the day, there are other, like she had a million other alliances, as she should, because she's another player in the game, you know? So there's a whole other like game taking place outside of in our room.
That was one of the things I found most interesting, was that the first time around when you and her met, and then Krista was eliminated.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she broke up the throuple.
Yeah. Well, she had other alliances that were happening and forming. And so like her logic made sense after I found out about it later, where she was like, I had to, and actually reflecting on it too, she wanted to solidify her alliance to Frank. And Frank was not a player that was playing, he was playing strategically, but he played with his heart. And so there was,
he really did.
He really did. I mean, it took him to the end. He you know, he took it home.
Yeah.
So, like
he was so unapologetically himself from day one. Yeah. Not that no one else was, but he was just not afraid to put himself out there.
Yep.
And that was amazing.
How could you not like love him for that? Like it's, you know, it was when we were watching him win and we all had the opportunity to like run up to him, like I can't even tell you how good it felt. Like if it wasn't gonna be like, you know, as a person in the cast, if it wasn't gonna be me, it had to be him. And every single person said the same thing. Like if it wasn't gonna be me, it had to be him, because he's so wonderful and so deserving of that kind of an experience. But yeah, it's been wild. It's been such a cool journey, and I'm glad that we got to like watch it all unfold, because like I said, like you're in it and it feels like it's fun and it's stressful, but you have no idea. Like I said, Yuling had all these other alliances, and it made sense to solidify the alliance with Frank because he was playing with his heart. So you have like only a few opportunities to really solidify that, because he wasn't playing strictly on strategy. He was playing with like really how he felt about people. And so it made sense that she prioritized that because she had the window to like secure that alliance. And I also think that they had like natural chemistry. Like when they started having a conversation and they had that like inner trust circle, they all just immediately had like the chemistry, they felt the bond, and like there's nothing that anyone could do to replicate that. That's just like natural human. So you know, it was tough at the time, but it like watching it made a lot of sense to me. Like I understood all of the decisions made, and then I wasn't as mad as at Brew, because first of all, because he took so long to make the decision that he clearly was like, you know, so upset by it. But then when I went to go see him, the first thing he said to me was, I did to have. Oh wait, did we lose you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that this keeps pausing. This is awful.
Don't
Is it still
worry.
pixelated or is it all right? I'm so sorry. I don't know what is going on tonight. There must be
You're
some
totally
sort
fine.
of like alert going on, some sort of firewall breaking.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to me.
We don't need another antivirus. I did it the one time and I'm done with that.
Yes, those days are over.
Thank God.
Those days are over.
Oh my gosh.
What was it like really though? I have to say, I have a question from Carmen who wants to know, how's your love life? And she goes, I mean, she's gorgeous. How is she single?
Well, I spent a lot of time really like focusing on doing work, like studying and getting things done. Because I really we filmed like a while ago, and in between that time, I like buckled down and I was like, I'm gonna get through as much of this training as I possibly can and whatever. So I really let like my dating life go by the wayside. Hi, Seabird. But now I am seeing somebody and it's very new. So it's all very
Good for
fun. But it's been really fun, and it's been nice to like have a partner in this like very crazy experience. And he's wonderful. Like he's, you know,
That's what everybody dreams of.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where like it's a tough thing to be with somebody during like a transition like this, like because really like so much of my life isn't a big transition, and to have somebody who's there consistently and also really really supportive is like can't ask for anything better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And especially going through all that training, I'm sure your study time takes up a lot of, you know.
Yes, it's a lot, and it's all like, it's not even reading like, or it's not even like I'm sitting in like lectures. I'm just reading scientific journals and like it's dense. It's like so much information. So I'm happy that that's the kind of education that I'm getting, because you know I'm getting like real information, real tangible information, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And so like in the time that I've been able to really relax and like blow off steam, it's been a nice contrast to the very heavy reading and, you know, writing that I have to do, that I love, but it's just a lot.
It's definitely a lot to do. I'm a clinical documentation improvement specialist, so that was a lot of, you know, probably 18 hours worth of exams, and it's just people don't understand like how much actually goes into it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for you, you know, being on the more clinical side of it, it's much more than that.
Well, so the training that I have done is not really so clinical. Like I would never give like medical advice or any sort of like medical direction. And so I really err on the side of like, I can help you with the coaching and I can help direct you towards like a medical professional who can give you any sort of like, you know, clinical guidance. But that being said, I'm reading scientific journals and I'm reading things that are like, you know, research the raw data, like as opposed to reading like an article about this clinical trial or study that they did. Like I'm reading the study. And that it's just dense. Like, and I didn't like go to school, like my undergraduate degree is in like merchandising, so it had nothing to do with reading any sort of, you know, documentation like that. So it was a bit of a learning curve just to like get my brain used to reading what that's like. But like I said, it's nice to have like that level of depth in what I'm learning, so that when I am talking to people, though again I'm not going to give anybody like clinical or medical advice, it's nice to know that like I can really direct them in the right direction because I have some background in what I'm talking about. I'm not really like, it's not like I'm throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Like I really feel like I can give people actual
You truly have that credibility, which is amazing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I know there was a lot of stuff that you mentioned too, that you work with women who have trauma, you work with, you know, men, you work with all sorts of, you know, I feel like you work from all sorts of different walks of life. But to get back to the circle, when you told everyone clutching my vulva pillow,
Yes.
and everybody, like, what was it like to see everyone's reactions to what you do?
You know, it was like not, I thought it was going to be, I was very wary of going onto a show with like the assistant to a sex coach title. I knew that like it was going to be a big part of my experience on the show. And I was so nervous to be like sexualized as a result. And
with stigma and
yeah, like, or just like them, like even from the production side, I was like worried about them making it seem like I was like some uber sexy god, like, you know, like
some vixen who was just like, hey.
Right, which like in reality, like I am certainly not like that energy in terms of like whatever sexuality. But so that was always my concern because like I take it so seriously and like it is so like it is so much fun. But like a lot of the work that I, especially at the time when I was doing the show and I was assisting another coach who is like, her specialty is trauma and trauma remediation. So like all of my experience at that point was in trauma remediation. And so for me, like it had so much depth to it and so much like I guess depth is the best word. So I was always a little weary, but it was actually really interesting to watch and see like how, you know, people were like, what is going on? Especially John, who was cracking me up because he just was like, what did I get myself into every 5 minutes? He's like, I don't know what I've done, but I've made a mistake somewhere along the line. But
he was so funny. I thought he came off as a great Carol. I would not like, at first he's like, oh, what a lovely young lady you are. And I'm like, and I was like, I bought it. Like, I was watching him like do it and watching him actually be himself, and I was buying it.
Yes. He like while I was in the show, I had literally 3 pages of Carol notes. Like I had so many notes about Carol.
The notorious note taker.
Oh, like I feel like my wall of notes, you barely even got to see it. Like that scratched the surface because I was psycho. Like I was a beautiful mind in my room, like just covered the walls.
I love that.
Oh my God. My notes on Carol were so extensive because I was like 99.5% sure that she was a catfish. And then every now and then he would say these things that were, I was like, how is this possible? Because at some point Carol said she had 2 kids and they were both in their early 20s. So like that is such a far cry from being in your 60s. So I was so confused. I was like, how is this possible that this person is definitely not Carol. It just can't be Carol, but it also can't be somebody in their early 20s. And then, you know, now that I know John, like he is such an old soul that like it kind of, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like if anybody could have played a 62-year-old like Italian mom in New Jersey, it's him. Cause like he on the side is a 62-year-old Italian mom from New Jersey.
I love Italian moms. I'm a big fan of Italian moms, big fan of Italian food. I love going to nice family Italian restaurants. Big fan of Rivoli's in New Jersey.
Oh, I've never been, but I've heard a lot about it.
I love Tony and I love his family.
I'm in New York, so I feel like, you know, my exposure to Jersey is a little bit stunted because we've created an unnecessary feud, you know, for no reason. Because I actually really like New Jersey, but yeah, I haven't been, but can't hate Italian food. You can't go wrong. It's the best.
You just can't. There's no way that you can go wrong with Italian food ever, especially homemade pasta.
Ugh.
I actually just met an Italian guy on a dating site, and he was telling me The only thing that would really bother me, like a pet peeve, would be if somebody said something about my family. And I was like, who would say anything about Italian families? They're so hospitable. Like, I wouldn't have that. Like, I've never been treated awful by an Italian family. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Well,
At least not in my experience.
I have one ex-boyfriend who was like that I dated for a long time, and he's super Italian, like Italian, New York Italian, like Brooklyn Italian.
Oh, that's very Italian.
Yes. And like the nicest, most lovely family, but they're very tight knit. So like if they don't, for part of my French, but if they don't fuck with you, then like that's when.
That's it.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, like you have like, I think that's the part of Italian family dynamics is like we're so close that you really have to get on everybody's good side, because if you're not, you better have a strong relationship, because it's gonna be put to the test every time you come around. But I like that type of support is nice, and I think like I'm Italian too, and it's been as we get older, we have to build boundaries and say I'm an adult, and the decisions that I make are mine. But the support is nice. You can't trade up the support.
You really can't. There's a lot of support in Italian families. I think once like an Italian family like fucks with you, like you're in it for life. They just love you.
In it for life. It's the best.
And I think it's pretty amazing, to be honest. One of the things that like we were just talking about, where you were saying that you got all beautiful mind with like Carol and all of the other people. Mm-hmm. I like I was saying before, you were very intuitive about a lot of this stuff, and you took a lot of notes. Mm-hmm. And especially when they tried to make it seem like you were lying about the Europe thing, you were like, you can actually see my ex-boyfriend in my sunglasses. Yes. Frank was like, oh, she's got receipts. I was like, yes.
Yes, that's the Italian Brooklyn one.
I love it. I love it. So that's the guy you can see in the sunglasses. Duly noted.
That's literally him. And now he and I are still cool, but he actually is gay and is dating my gay best friend, and they live in a condo together in Florida. So it's really been a change.
That's a change, but it's amazing. I actually dated a guy who came out as gay myself. He told me on Christmas. George Michael passed away, so I was kind of like, all right, well, if that's what makes you happy, then I'm happy for you.
You know what? It's funny because it like, at least for me, it felt like, how could I be mad? Like, how could I be mad? Like, how? What is there to be mad at?
A woman.
Yeah. What is there to be mad at? That's so funny though.
You can't get mad at happiness. I feel like if somebody's truly that willing to be that vulnerable with you, that's like a beautiful moment.
100%. And I think like if you had a relationship with the person where like you really love them, you would be sort of a hypocrite for not embracing them in that moment, because like
100%.
If you love them no matter what choices they make, so I never felt, it was like, I think it was because he's dating somebody that I'm very close with. I think it was more of like the first time I saw them together, I was like, oh my God, wow, this is like real. Like this is real. But it was still like so exciting.
Like so organic and
totally. Wait, what is this? Like this champ bubbly thing that you're drinking? I need to know.
Oh my gosh. So I actually finished it and it's in the other room, and I was trying to carry like all of my stuff with me. So I have champagne. It's absolutely amazing. It's called Champagne Bubbly. Everybody needs to go and follow them on Instagram.
Okay.
It's a champagne in a can. And I will tell you, tonight was my first sip before I started. It tastes amazing.
Love it. That's pretty cool.
So if you want to know where to find it, you got to follow them on Instagram. They're my official drink of Wingman Live. I met one of the creators the other day. So amazing. We had a great day. Me, him, and Hunter. I was talking to Hunter about you, and I was saying something, I forget. It was something about having the champagne. I'm like, I don't know if I should probably send her one. And then I actually was thinking about the rest of it, and I was like, I should send her champagne and some of the Wingman of the Year condoms.
Oh, wait, yes.
That's
love
our business card. I had
love
all of those with me, and I don't know where they went. I could probably drop them along the hallway because I was trying to not be pixelated, and I was trying to I don't want to lose everybody, so I was running down the hallway. But I had a bunch of them with me, and I was let me grab some. We have little QR codes on them so that everybody can follow us. And
oh my God, I love
yes,
it.
thank you. Champagne will send. Oh, I love champagne.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I think one of the most amazing parts of it too is Berkeley, their dog. The dog that you see on there, that's Berkeley. Everybody remembers Berkeley, is what DJ told me. He's one of the creators.
That's so sweet. I'm a big dog lady, so I
I
understand.
love dogs.
I love them. I live with 4 right now, so we are a dog home.
That's amazing. I left my dog back in Massachusetts because I felt like coming to the city, I was I'm not going to be able to give her the life that she has over here. She's got a yard to run around in. She's got all this space. And I cried. I cry about it still, but I'm she wouldn't have the same freedom. She wouldn't have the dog companions that she does. She wouldn't have my sister's kids and all that. So
yeah, and you know what? At some point, it's not like you can't go visit, and you can see them whenever, and
I hope she doesn't forget me. I'm her birthday was last weekend and she turned 9. She's my little baby. She looks like a little Bichon Frise, but she's really mini. She's half long-haired Chihuahua, half Bichon Frise. She's my little baby.
What's her name?
Brooklyn.
Cute name.
Yes. Well, everybody, I feel like I was just destined to be a New Yorker because a lot of my friends, their dogs were named after Boston landmarks and stuff. And I was just kind of all right, everybody's dogs and cats are Boston, Massachusetts related. And me personally, the first time I went to Brooklyn, I loved it. And I was all right, I'm a huge Biggie fan, big Jay-Z fan. It's gotta be Brooklyn. Gotta be Brooklyn.
Wait, so did you move to New York City or are you?
I live in Albany.
Okay, but now you're a New Yorker.
Yes, well, I'm a New Yorker. I just became a New Yorker probably 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks in.
Goodness.
Yes. So we're only a couple hours apart. We'll have to hang out.
To come down to the city and we'll go.
Absolutely.
I'll take you to the Museum of Sex. That's my party trick now.
That would be the greatest experience. I was laughing when the guy was trying to act like he didn't know what it was and he was pretending to be Nathan. That would be a great date for me and you, Lang. I'm
I know. Well, you know what? I don't actually know if he knew what it was. Oh my gosh. Somebody who's I'm a big fan of just DM'd me on Instagram. She's a therapist and I want to cry because I love her. Anyway, but anyways. Yeah, so I don't think I'm not a big celebrity gal, but I'm a big content creator therapist gal apparently. But
that's amazing.
That honestly, some of the best parts of this whole experience have been I feel like I can talk to my internet friends now. And that's been so cool. The people that are I'm a big YouTube watcher, so people that are on YouTube that I've watched forever. There's a makeup artist and her name's Mikey, and I have no interest in, and this is kind of mean, I'm not a big reality show person, so I don't know the names of people, so I don't it doesn't resonate with me as much. But my favorite YouTube creator, I'm so excited about it.
Did she reach out to you?
She's a fan of the show, so she randomly followed me on Instagram, and I almost fell over, and I DM'd her, and I was what are you doing here? Are you lost? Are you lost? And she was are you kidding? I'm a fan. And I was you can't, no. No, because I've been your fan since I was in the 8th grade. We can't be fans of each other. It was too much.
Oh my God, I would lose it. I would lose it. Someone's saying, is it true that you can touch your tongue to your nose?
You know what? Weirdly, recently, so John can do that. I don't know how we got on that topic. He did it once. And I saw that and I was oh, I wonder if I can do that. And no, I can't. I'll try, but no, I have a very short tongue. I didn't realize how short it, like, that's really all that it goes.
So John's the one that can do this. That's his potty trick.
Yeah, I guess so. I wish I could explain the context at which I found that out, but I literally could not. Could not.
It must have been an interesting situation for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a weird guy, so I'm sure whatever the context was ridiculous and made no sense. It's very possible that he just randomly did it in front of me, and I was like, "What is that? How? Why?" You never know. You never know with him.
Yeah, he seems like a wild card.
You know, like, he has very aggressive, like, old man energy and also very aggressive 25 years old energy. And so I feel like I can't predict a lot of the things that he does and like he's 25 and his favorite movie is Casablanca. Like,
that is so rare.
So interesting. I don't really understand how he got there, but makes him a really
I'm here for it. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it makes him super unique.
Definitely. What makes you super unique aside from the sex portion?
I think I don't know. I guess there's like a few things. Like I really am a good communicator. Like, I spent a lot of time working on that, and I think that's why, like, my interest and, like, I think that's why I'm good with the sex ed stuff and, like, sex conversations, because I'm really good at, like, just wording things to people, and so, like, I'm often the friend that other people reach out to for a variety of communication things. Like, I remember Yulene once was having an issue with someone who was subletting her apartment, and she reached out to me and she was like, I don't know how to word this in a way that's not sounding terrible. And we sat there, we figured it out, and that was that. But I'm also a big, like, introvert in general. Like, as much as I think I'm a really good communicator and I like communicating with other people, when we were filming the show, we were isolated for weeks at a time, and I was fine.
How often did the producers, like, pop in on you?
They do, yeah. You have, like, you have producers popping in on you all the time, but you're also, because of COVID, we had to isolate for a while. And from the time that we, like, get to the UK, which is where we film, to the time that we go home, we don't have access to our own phones. We don't have access to, like, we have minimal access to our friends and family. And so we spent a month on using these, like, it was like a 2017, like, Samsung that had every single app, like, parent controlled except for WhatsApp and YouTube. And so I was
Oh,
just,
my goodness. Like, were you on YouTube, like, every night?
oh yes. Like I said, I love YouTube, and I'm a big fan of Trixie Mattel and Katya, the drag queens. And so I was watching their videos every single day and every single night while I was isolated. But I was, like, mostly fine because I really enjoy spending time by myself. And so I guess that kind of makes me unique. Like, I like playing The Sims. Like, I would rather stay home and play The Sims and, like, hang out with my mom and my dogs than I would than like, go out and, like, go clubbing. Like, that's fun sometimes. If I can choose, it's home, Sims, mom.
Being home, I think, there's nothing like it. Especially, I think, after being quarantined, I have a greater appreciation for being at home than I did before.
Right?
I don't know what it was. I mean, I'll say this, I was, like, in an apartment alone in Massachusetts for most of COVID. And then, a couple weeks ago, just moving to New York. I have a roommate now. I have, Hunter here, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's, it's much nicer having a roommate, having somebody around. But, oh my God, it was great for me to be alone, to have that time to kind of, like, self-reflect and develop and just, you find out who your true friends are, you find out who people are. And I think a lot of that is probably why you guys really excelled on the show more so than maybe anyone in previous seasons, because you were kind of, you had that advantage of being able to be on your own and, freely think and say, you know what, this doesn't sound right to me. This seems a little strange. Right. So every time you sat back and thought something that was actually true about somebody, I was like, holy shit, she knows.
Well, okay, so one of my favorite predictions that I had was when the Jared profile came up for the very first time. I was in the gym and I was on the treadmill. And
I remember seeing that.
And the Jared profile came up. And I remember in that moment, I was like, there's no way this is going to make it into the show. But I looked at the profile and the first thing I said was, this is a girl. And this is a girl that's in a relationship. And I thought that because I felt like the job that they had was like a children's author. And I was like, that feels like a job that you would give yourself in a show like this if you wanted people to like think you were likable and unsuspecting. Yeah. And then I read the description, and that Jared was supposed to be 27. And in the description, he says that he like loves to travel and it wants to go on an adventure with the love of his life. But he was also single. And at that time, I was also 27, and I was like, dated a lot of 27-year-olds. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know any single 27-year-olds who would like put in a bio like in this way that they want to like travel with the love of their life that they don't have. So I was like, something is up, something is fishy. And I knew from the start that Jared was not a real like I knew. And so when we found out that it was the Spice Girls, I was like, it's them. It's Jared. 100% that's them. And I knew from the start. And it was like the weirdest. Like I wasn't even going into the game trying to find catfish, but ooh, did I find them.
You really figured out who everybody was. I mean, I was pretty impressed when you were like, this is really strange. And like when people started asking them about the books and they were like, oh my God, we got to come up with book names and
yeah,
this and that. And when everybody started dissecting your profile about like the spooky stuff and
yeah.
small and spicy, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is like perfectly like intricate where everybody thinks that she's the Spice Girls. And then the Spice Girls are like, this is great. Everybody thinks that she's us.
I was like, so when they came to the room, one of the first things they said to me was, they were like, we threw you under the bus, like hard, like no one thinks you're real anymore. Like we really threw you under the bus. I was like, oh
my gosh.
Hysterical.
Like, I just got thrown under the bus by the Spice Girls.
Literally, it's like they could have done anything to me at that time, and I would have been like, "It's fine. You're punching me in the face as the Spice Girl, so it's fine."
They could run me over with the Spice Bus, and I'd be like, "It's okay. I have no limbs, but I'm happy."
Exactly. I would be like, "Thank you for doing that." Actually,
I was so happy. I actually, it was when I initially started watching. Haka and everybody, they were like, "Who's Rod Stewart?"
Oh, I know.
Rod Stewart? And I'm like.
You're like, oh no.
I was like, oh my God, I feel so old. Cause like, I remember like my mother loved Rod Stewart.
Well, like I think there was even a few people who didn't know who the Spice Girls were. I want to say that when Parker found out that it was the Spice Girls, it like took her a couple seconds. Like she was like, oh yes. I was like, oh my gosh, I forget that. Like, I mean, she's 21. Like, she really didn't. Like, I'm 28. So and I was at sort of like the end of the Spice Girls era. So like, she's 21. Like, she knows who they are, but like, it doesn't resonate with her the same way. And that's just like, it's just so crazy. It's so crazy.
And someone just said, didn't Jared say he didn't know who the Spice Girls were? And I was like, there's no 27-year-old, 28-year-old man that doesn't know who the Spice Girls are.
Yes. Well, so that was when they came to my room. That person's terrible. When they came to my
God.
I leave. Ridiculous. when they came to my room and they asked me, like, how did you figure it out? One of the things I said to them was, we're supposed to be the same age, and I absolutely know who the Spice Girls are. Like, they are legends. I mean, you are legends, and you would have, you know, some sort of memory of the 90s. Like, you would have some memory. Even if they were sort of like memories that you know from like stories that you've shared or whatever, like you would have some sort of memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like how could you not know who they are? And actually, so like I kept a lot of, like, I would say pretty much all of the secrets of what happened on the show I kept from my parents. The only thing that they knew was that I didn't win. And so when I told them that we had like a surprise guest, but I wasn't going to tell them who it was. And I remember like leading up to the show airing, my dad was like, you really aren't going to tell us who it is? We're so close, like, just tell me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you. He was humming Wannabe in the house. So like he was singing it. And as I'm listening to him, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to freak out when he finds out that's who it is. Because they're so like universal. Literally everyone knows who they are.
That
like,
song is so catchy that I think anybody hears it, and if like somebody didn't know it, I'd be like, what? Like,
yes.
It was probably one of the biggest hits of the 90s, like the late 90s.
100%. It's like one of those songs that if you were around for any part of the 90s, it's like in your bones. Like you hear that like first part of it, and you like, I go like, I'm feral. I'm like, you can't find me anymore. I'm across the bar. Like I'm bye. You can talk to me in 3 minutes when the song is over. Because
I love it. That's me when it's like Cash Money taking over for the 99 2000s. I'm like, I'm gone.
You're like, bye.
That's it. Bye. You're not seeing me until this is over. Even if my feet hurt, I'm like, oh, there I go. Whether it's the Spice Girls, anything from like the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm gone.
Were you an Nsync or a Backstreet Boy girl? Did you have a team?
I would say that I was an Nsync girl. I went to a lot of Nsync concerts, but I am going to see the Backstreet Boys next month. I'm very excited about that.
Oh, I'm so jealous. When I was younger, I was a big Backstreet Boy fan, and I still am. But as I got older, I have gotten like more into Nsync as I've gotten older, which is kind of strange. But when I was younger, I was the biggest Backstreet Boy fan. Like I loved them. And when I was in college, they had done a tour, and my sister bought me the tickets, I think for like a birthday or Christmas or something. And I remember going to the show that day, and I was like, I don't know, I kind of like don't feel well. Like I wouldn't be that mad if I didn't go, and I'm just gonna, you know, I'm sure it'll be fun. Like I was so like not prepared for what was about to happen to me. And they start, like the lights go down, and they start like the beginning of Everybody Backstreet's Back. And I just start sobbing.